As the party crawls their way through this deadly dungeon, there they spot at the end of the hall a door with a simple lock. The party turns to one another and realizes they don't have anybody that can use thieves' tools. Wrap it up. It's time to go home. How's it going, everyone, and welcome to No Fun Alloved's How to GM series. And today we're going to be talking about party composition and why you don't need it. So we always have this mentality in our minds, this thing that's permeated all about. You need to have the tank, you need to have the healer, you need to have the DPS, you need to have the this, you need to have the that. You do not need to have anything at all whatsoever. It's important that we make a distinction between tabletop role-playing games and video role-playing games. You see, in a video role-playing game, it's typically you against an AI or you against other players, in which case, yes, composition does matter because there is a meta to it. There is the best way to perform. But you see, those are for competitive sake. Role-playing games should not be competitive. When you gather all those people up for the table and go ahead and play, you are not competing against anybody. If you want a game where you sit down and compete, then I highly suggest you go out and find those games. But tabletop role-playing games are typically not any of those. The reason we join together at the table is to have fun. So I strongly recommend that you go ahead and push aside all those notions of needing the best party composition, of needing this many of this class, and going ahead and spreading all about. No, do whatever the heck you want to do. Now, it's very important that when your players go ahead and sit down and create whatever classes that they are, you go ahead and tailor the world to them. So yes, if you do have a balanced team, if you have the tank and the healer and the DPS and the this and the that, then go ahead and challenge them accordingly. But what happens when they don't do that? What if your group decides to have nothing but a party of wizards, in which case you're going to have to change the game? It makes sense. If you have a bunch of people that are squishy and shoot things from behind, then what's going to happen is you're going to have to respond in kind. You cannot throw the same encounters as you would for a group that is perfectly balanced. You need to change things up. Whether that be they go up against people of similar builds, or if they go up against someone that they can actually manage, you have to change the world to fit their design. Another example of this is the one that I showed at the very beginning of this video. If you have nobody in the party that can open up doors, then nowhere in the world should there be closed doors that are important. Yes, you can go ahead and have doors that they cannot open as long as they don't pertain to the actual adventure. If the MacGuffin of the campaign or that NPC that they know and love is right there behind that door, don't punish them because no one picked that one skill or that one class. That's boring. That's not fun. Likewise, don't throw in items or gear that can't be used by anyone in the party. If you have that awesome sword that's sitting there waiting to be drawn by an epic hero that can use that type of sword, but none of your party can use that sword, then what's the point, right? Go ahead and change up the sword or don't have it there at all. The player's choices in regards of their class and skill set should be important to the campaign, and you should go ahead and model the world around them. Don't give them an adventure that is impossible because they don't have this certain class or skill, and make sure that whatever choices that they have are worthwhile and reflected in all of the actions that they do. Whether they're interacting with the world or going out and exploring or getting into epic combats, they should always be able to have the chance of succeeding. And something very important to this whole equation here is being transparent with your players. Tell them that they don't need to have that balanced group. Tell them that they don't need to have that tank, that healer, that whatever else. They don't need that. Allow them to pick whatever they want. If they want to have a fun little theme where everyone is one class, or if they want to purposely diversify, it shouldn't matter in the end. All that should matter is that they get presented a fun and epic journey that they get to go along together. And for the love of everything that's holy, do not force anyone to be a heal bot. If someone doesn't want to be something, but the rest of the people demand that there be a healer, don't enforce it. No heal bots required. Never necessary. Just remember, role-playing games are not competitive. We are joining together as one to have a fun time. It's not the players versus the GM. It is the characters up against the world. And that is what truly matters. You make that world, so you make it worthwhile having a fun time in. So go ahead and tell me, do you run into an issue with party composition in your campaigns? Or are your players perfectly fine doing whatever the heck they want? Do you think this is all bunk, and do you think that there does need to be party composition? Go ahead and tell me. I want to know, because a lot of people have a lot of conflicting ideas on this, and there really isn't a wrong answer. It really just depends on the game that you play and the world that is presented. Go ahead and tell me all those things, because I would love to hear it. That is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to all my amazing patrons up here. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so very much. That is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for listening, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one.